What's going on, guys? It's your boy Ethan. Hope you're having a great day. Welcome to the video, and I'm so excited because right now, first time I'm rocking the Luckbox merch, this t-shirt and the little R patch on the left sleeve. I'm so excited about this. Today I took a Western Mass trip to see my buddy Jamie, who makes the merch, and I got these samples literally like an hour ago, and now we're playing a friendly home game 1-2 session. And we're also seeing a bunch of the friendly faces and Western Mass crew from MGM because it's been a while, and they're the people that I kind of learned how to play poker with. So it always comes full circle, and hopefully this t-shirt is going to, give us some Luckbox run good today. Crossing my fingers, but if you want to grab one, leave the link down below, cart.silverscreendesign.com. We chose some really limited colors. So there's a limited quantity of like the red, specifically the red, and a few other colors as well. There's some t-shirts, some hoodies. Honestly, the quality is, I'm not even BSing you guys, it's honestly very, very soft and comfortable. So if you want to grab one, help support the channel. I think this design is just absolutely fire. So if you want to grab one, check the link down below. It's always much appreciated, and hopefully run it up with the new merch. Let's make this happen. We are playing a 1-2 $400 max buy-in, but it's match the stack, so just a forewarning, things might get big, not the typical 1-2 game you usually see. Anyways, first hand in, we pick up Queen 10 of spades on the button. There's an early position limp. I put in a raise to $12 with 400 in stack. Only the limper makes the call. Going to a flop, which comes Jack 9 6 2 spades, starting off hot with the combo draw. I put in a C bet of $10 when he checks. He thinks, makes the call for 10. Let's try to improve. The turn is the deuce of clubs, a Brick City card, and when he checks to me here on a card that doesn't change anything, I kind of like to go for an overbet considering how much equity we have. We put in an overbet this time to $60, and this player snap folds, so we take down one of the first hands of the night. Let's try to run it up. On to the next one, looking down at ace queen offsuit and +1. Under the gun straddled is $5, and I open things up to 20. Folds to the on the gun player, who decides on making the call. This is a solid player who's also part of the Vibe Squad we play sometimes online, so definitely have some history. Anyways, the flop comes 10-5 deuce, 2 hearts, and when he checks to me, on this board texture, I am definitely just going to put in a C bet. It's fairly dry, so I just size to 15. Now, this player check raises to 40. On to me, considering we have overcards and against someone who can check raise with a lot of air potentially, I'm in position. I decide on just floating this one for $25 more. We're going to see a turn, which is the Jack of clubs. So improved to a gutter ball. Still, we have 2 overcards, and we block the nut flush draw. When he throws out another bet of $60, given the line that I've taken, I'm just not going to be folding here. We decide on the call once again, hoping to improve or see a good card to bluff on. The river is the 4 of hearts, so all things considered, definitely a good card that we can bluff on, and even better when he checks to us. He's got about $500 in his stack, and we certainly aren't going to be checking this one back with ace high. Gonna put in another overbet, hoping to just squeeze out all of his 10x holdings. I size to $300, and he does end up snap folding, and later tells us that he had a 10, so always nice to at least assess the situation. Maybe not the best line in the world with ace queen, but still chips getting pushed our way. With a few big pots happening, we are in the game total for 800 now, and even better, picking up pocket kings in the cutoff, and there's an on the gun straddle. Low jack opens up the action to $25, and onto me, loving this situation. We put in a 3-bet to 80. Action folds back to the opener, and he decides on a call. He's sitting about $600 deep, so playing pretty deep for a 1-2 game. Anyways, the flop comes 7-4-4 rainbow. He checks, and obviously, pretty good board for kings. I put in a bet of $55, just trying to get value from all pairs. He ends up making the call. The turn is the 3 of spades, brings in 2 spades, and sometimes you lose to 5-6, but that's about it. He ends up checking, and I'm going to throw out a larger bet this time to $225. After thinking for quite some time, obviously $225 is a pretty large bet for a 1-2 game, but not such a huge one in this particular 1-2. He ends up making the call. The river is now the deuce of hearts, pretty much a brick essentially on a 3-bet pot. So he has about $325 behind, and when he checks to us for a third time, we have a pretty easy jam here. I rip it all in for his total stack, and he ends up making the call, saying that it's probably a losing call. So we show our pocket kings and we scoop a big one our way. He later tells us that he had pocket tens. So pretty tough spot, overpair versus overpair. We just got one of the really great runouts to get stacks in. After scooping that massive pot, we pick up queen 8 of hearts, and there's a button straddle of $5. The player to my right limps in for 5. Seen him limp in pretty wide, so we're just gonna raise a little bit wider. I raised to $25. Only the button makes the call though, so the player to my right who limped got out of the way. Anyways, the flop comes king 7-4 to hearts. Heart draw, queen high. We're gonna put in a bet. As you know, we sized to $35 on this specific board, and the button makes the call. The turn is now the 9 of clubs, so 2 flush draws on the board. And with queen high and still just the flush draw, I decided to size up once again to $100. I think our queen is good to block some combos of king queen. Anyways, he thinks and ends up making the call. He's got $300 in his stack and hoping to see a heart to rip it all in on. The river though is the 10 of clubs, so not great considering that we missed. Even worse that the backdoor club draw did get there. And on such a dynamic board, I think we kind of blocked some hands like straights that could have gotten there. But ultimately, I decided to just check and give up. If it wasn't a club, then I might have just ripped it all in. But anyways, he checks it back and he shows us the 5-7 of hearts. Unfortunate to not fire that third bullet on the river. Kind of missed out on that one. In this next spot, we pick up ace king offsuit on the gun and I raise things up pre-flop to 10. Onto the +1 player who 3-bets to 30. Action folds back to me, and me and this player have a lot of history together, played a bunch earlier on in my poker career, as you can call it, and he's pretty solid, and I don't think he's going to be 3-betting too light versus an under the gun open, but ultimately, I think our hand is just a little too strong to only flat call, considering we're out of position. I decided to 4-bet this one to $100. I'm very much okay with getting stacks in with ace-king, or also okay with getting folds. With my $100 4-bet, he decides on a call, so we're going to a flop playing about $900 deep. The flop comes queen jack 7 rainbow. Not really the most ideal board for us, but I guess we do have a gutter, I guess. So I'm just going to put in a c-bet with a little bit of equity. We do lose to a lot of sets and sometimes ace queen that's ahead of us now. I bet out $70, hoping to fold out a hand like ace king for chops or even pocket 10s and pocket 9s. Anyways, for $70, he makes the call. The turn is now the 6 of diamonds. It doesn't help us at all, and I think now is just time to give up or realize some equity, hopefully getting to a free river. I check, but he doesn't want to check back. He bets out $200, and I think we're just going to have to give up here. We don't really have a whole lot going on for us. Playing out of position is tough, so I let my cards go and fold. He tells us that he had pocket jacks for a middle set hand. That is good enough to take it down. The first time with ace king didn't go our way, so hopefully this next time here in +1, we can redeem ourselves. I raise things up, open up the action to $10, and once again, the player to my left puts in a 3-bet. Now the middle position player makes the call, and action folds to the small blind player who has over $1,000 in his stack, and one of the bigger stacks at the table, and he puts in a 4-bet to $105. Action folds to me. We're playing also about 1,000 deep, and for a 1-2 game here, we're in position, and I think we're playing deep enough to justify a 5-bet. Given we do have position, I definitely want to isolate the field, so I put in a 5-bet this spot to $240. Action quickly folds back to the small blind player, and he goes deep in the tank for quite some time, ends up making the call. So playing a 5-bet pot here at 1-2, we've got a lot of money in the middle. Let's see a good flop. The flop comes 9-6 deuce rainbow, the brickest flop in the world for us. Action onto the small blind, and he thinks about a minute or so before ending up checking. Well, I think we can go one way or another. We can definitely check to see a free card, or sometimes bet to, I guess, fold out chops, and maybe even against a tighter player who might be able to fold jacks or 10s potentially. Not entirely sure at this point, but let's test it out. I bet out 175. He thinks a minute or two goes by, then puts in raising chips to $400, give or take. It's a snap fold for us, and we're going to let this one go. And this player shows for the vlog, shows us pocket queens. So nice hand, Mike. Looks like right now we're just running into it. Obviously, with some huge pots happening right now, we are in for $1,800 at 1-2, just casual 1-2. Moving on to this hand with Queen 5 of spades in the hijack. Technically, we're in the cutoff with the button not in the hand, so there's a +1 open limp. We're going to play more hands than folding them, so I raise to 15. The big blind and +1 player decide on making the call, so we're going 3 ways to a flop of ace, 7, 8, 2 hearts. Action checks to me, and we haven't been winning too many hands so far, and yeah, let's mix it up. I put in a C-bet here of $20. We get the big blind to make the call, and we've just got to try to improve. The turn is the 6 of clubs, so always nice to turn a little bit of equity. Now we're open-ended. He checks again, and I'm just going to put in a bet of $35. Pretty small sizing, and weird enough, we face a check raise. This time he check raises to $80. This is a super small sizing, and I'm not entirely understanding what's going on right now, but we're definitely going to continue with a call for only $45 more. Can't fold our open-ended just yet. The river now comes a 10, so there's a 4-liner out there. Any 9 makes a straight, but we see good news when he decides to slow down and check. Given the green light to go for it and to bluff at this, given the line that he's taken, he certainly doesn't have too many 9Xs, so his hand is capped to maybe 2 pair at best. So we're going to go for it. We bet out a large sizing of $175, and he folds pretty quickly, so looks like we can't really win by betting for value. We're definitely going to win by bluffing moving forward. So after bluffing our way to winning a pot, we find ace 5 of clubs in early position. I open up the action to $15, sizing up here as stacks are getting deeper as the night goes on. And we get the hijack to 3-bet to $30. Action folds to me. This player looks like someone who's only played poker a few times, definitely here for a good time. 4-bet bluffing with this candidate isn't really great against these type of players, so I decide on just making the call for 15 more. We're playing out of position anyways. Well, the flop comes king, queen, 10, 2 clubs, so hell of a flop for us. And when I check, he puts out a C-bet of $15, 1/4 pot. That's not going to be good for us. We're definitely going to apply pressure with this specific hand with a combo draw. So I check raise to 75, and he decides on 75 being a good price to call. He has about 275-ish behind. Anyways, the turn is a good-looking one in a jack. Offsuit jack here gives us the nuts for Broadway right now. And considering that he has 275 behind, he certainly can have a lot of ace-X holdings, and we're free rolling, so I size up to a bet of $225. He doesn't take too long before ripping it all in, and it's $50 for me to call. Obviously, we're not folding, hoping to see a free roll, which we are. He flips up ace-king, so let's just see a river club take down the whole pot. The river comes the deuce of hearts. Sadly, doesn't come for us. We're just going to chop this one up. A little bit of an anticlimactic finish, but always nice to be in a position to free roll. This next hand I'm going to talk about might be considered the hand of the night. We'll see. We have 3-6 of diamonds in the hijack. There's an on the straddle, and you might be asking yourself, why is there a 3-6 of diamonds hand going on right now? You're about to find out. I open up the action to $20. We get 3 bets from the small blind to 80. This player has about $400 deep, and let's splash around a little bit. We're in position, 3-6 of diamonds. We decide to make the call, and you just might know where this is going. Anyways, the flop comes 9-9-3, 2 clubs and a diamond. And when he's first acting the small blind, he actually checks. So we've flopped a pair. We have backdoor diamond draws. You never know what may happen. So I put in a bet of $60. This is purely for value. He can definitely 3-bet a lot of ace queens, ace kings. And this player counts out his stacks and ends up making the call. So, all right, we're off to a turn, which is the 7 of diamonds. So now we are 80% of the way there to a flush. He checks again for a second time, and I decided to check this one back. I think with a pair of 3s, given how he played it, our hand must be good, and we also want to realize all of our equity. The river, well, comes the bink diamond. Oh my goodness, and he doesn't take too long before jamming his whole stack in there. It's about $360-ish, give or take, and with the 6 high flush, we're not going to be folding. We snap this one off. This player shows us ace king high with the ace of diamonds, And our premium 6-3 of diamonds takes it down. Show this one with pride or something like that, winning a massive pot in a 3-bet pot with 6-3. Oh, so you added onto your stack. Any specific reason?
When you see 6-3 suited in a 4-bet pot or 3-bet pot, you add on more money.
Chasing the fish's money. I see. Got it. Okay, on to normal 1-2 action. We pick up ace-king offsuit in the big blind. Middle position player opens at $10, and a cutoff player makes the call for 10. And yeah, we're definitely gonna put in a 3-bet, so I sized to $55. And only the cutoff makes the call. The only thing that's not too normal about it is that this cutoff player has about $1,700 in his stack, and we cover him. So let's go to a flop, which comes ace, deuce, deuce, 2 diamonds. Finally, 3rd time's the charm with ace, king. We hit something. I put in a c-bet of $35, and he doesn't take too long before making the call. So we're off to a turn with a lot behind, and we're confident we're ahead. The turn is an 8, essentially a Brick City card. And given how deep we are and we block some diamond draws, I want to target ace X for the maximum and get stacks in. So I don't really think an ace will ever fold to me in the specific spot. So remember when I said that we're playing a normal 1-2 hand? This is not a normal 1-2. I put in an overbet of $225, and this player goes deep into the tank, thinks about it for a minute or two, and ends up making the call. So looks like our read might be right here. If he has an ace, he's going to be calling another big bet on the river, hopefully. Let's try to see a brick card. The river is now a 5. We only lose to ace 8 and ace 5, essentially. And given we're out of position, I'm going to size up again. We sized to $500. Like I said, we're playing super deep in 1-2. And he once again goes deep into the tank for a long time and ends up actually folding. Shows us the ace of hearts. Maybe our sizing was a little too large. Didn't think he would fold an ace here, but later tells us he had ace 9. So he made a good fold. And unfortunately, our bet was just a tad bit too big with ace king. The last hand of the night, I lied about the 6-3 hand. This one just might be the hand of the night. Let's strap into this. With ace 10 offsuit in the cutoff, there's an early position player who limped a player from last hand who's really deep. The player to my right raises to $20. And, you know, we're playing super deep. Like I said, we can call $20, and the limper makes the call as well. So 3 ways to a flop of queen, jack, 10, 2 hearts. Well, bottom pair with the backdoor nut flush draw. Player to my right c-bets for a sizing of $35. With the ace of hearts and also a gutter to Broadway, I'm going to peel one here, make the call in position, and the early position player also makes the call. So still 3 ways to the turn, which is the 9 of hearts. Action card for sure, and surprisingly, action checks all the way to me. Considering that we're in position, I think we can go either way with a check or bet. I think betting here actually is better since we do block the nuts, and betting here also leaves us to be uncapped. So I throw out $100, and to our surprise, both players like their cards enough to make the call again. So hoping to improve on a river. The river is the 7 of spades, so we don't get there. We're just with a pair of 10s, and we block the nut flush. The early position player throws out a bet of $175. Now onto the player to my right who tanks for a while. He actually ends up folding, and now onto me. Here, obviously, we're just not going to be calling with a pair of 10s, but like I said, considering that we bet on the turn, it actually leaves us uncapped, so we have a lot of flushes potentially, and considering that we hold the ace of hearts, no one can have the nut flush. So let's go for it. We put all King X holdings in terrible spots, and I think it's worth a try. I put in a raise to $750 with the nut blocker, and immediately he doesn't look happy. After thinking it over, he ultimately just shows the table King 9 offsuit for a flopped straight and folds. We get our bluff through. Later, the player to my right tells us that he folded pocket queens for top sets. Would you know, the worst hand at the table gets the chips. All we had was a pair of 10s and a dream. All right, so we found a way to be in some ridiculous action today. Not the typical 1-2. It was match the stack, so we were in for a lot. And guess what? The Luck Box shirt bailed us out. So yeah, I mean, if you want to grab one, check the link down below. I mean, I just literally am in love with this. This is my favorite clothing. I'm literally gonna have like 10 of these. I'm gonna order more for myself, to be quite honest with you. But we were in the game for $2,000. Who can say they're in for a normal 1-2 game for 2K? And we're out of the game for $31.50 in a few hours played. So yeah, action was really good. I definitely supplied a lot of it, and we ended up running pretty well, and things went pretty well for us in a time where things haven't been going too well. But thank you so much for watching this video. That thumbs up and subscribe buttons are pretty friendly, so if you want to just give them a little tap, really helps the channel grow. Always much appreciated. And lastly, these are in the description below, in the link below. And besides that, thank you so much for all the support, man, and I'll see you guys next video. Peace.